Chapter 9, did we do? No. Chapter 8, we did. Chapter 9. The passing away of Vishnudev in the presence of Lord Krishna. This unit ends with chapter 9.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, question 1. Why did Lord Krishna want the Pandavas to be present in aristocratic array before Vishnudev at the time of his death? That's 1 point. 9.3. Lord Shri Krishna wanted the Pandavas to be present before Vishnudev in the most aristocratic order, so that he might be pleased to see them happy at the time of his death. This itself is an indication that Bhishmadev actually wanted the Pandavas to win. Don't write that in the answer book. Question 2. Summarize Bhishmadev's explanation of the sufferings of the Pandavas 11 to 17. To summarize and all is like understanding question. Before the next round of Bhakti Vaibhava should be redone. Maybe we should have two different close book assessments. One for knowledge, one for understanding, or knowledge and understanding. Knowledge is one type of close book assessment, then hybrid close book assessment. It's a mixed knowledge understanding. Okay, 11 to 17. No, but better is wait, take it up here. What was the question?
The explanation
Summarize
of
the
the
explanation
sufferings
of the
of
sufferings of the Pandavas. Okay, his first point is the Pandavas did not deserve to remain alive, but they were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. But all these sufferings are due to inevitable time, irreversible, inevitable time. That is the plan of Lord Sri Krishna, which even great philosophers cannot understand. Therefore, Rishi should take charge of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. Question 3. Why did Bhishma Dev choose to fight against the Pandavas? 16. Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord, because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side. Question 4. List reasons for Krishna's wanting Bhishma Dev to instruct Maharaj Yudhishthir. 25. How many reasons are there? Okay, here is one reason. That Lord Sri Krishna inspired Maharaj Yudhishthir to ask Bhishma Dev in the presence of many great sages indicates that a devotee of the Lord like Bhishma Dev, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. Another reason. Bhishma Dev at that time was not only lying on a deathbed of arrows, but was also greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time, but Lord Sri Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment, and that in any circumstances, a devotee of the Lord is thus in perfect order to speak of the right way of life. Another reason. For establishing the glories of his devotee Vishnu. The father likes to see the son become more famous than himself. The Lord declares very emphatically that the worship of his devotee is more valuable than the worship of the Lord himself. Question 5. Identify 3 significant points from Bhishma Dev's instructions on Varnashrama 25 to 28. Why 25? Okay, here is one point. Varnashrama Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life. There are certain qualifications for all human beings. And beyond that, there are rules for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Three points means at least the ones that Prabhupada himself emphasizes can be taken up. It's too long. Not satisfied with the question. Dissatisfied
Question
with
is
the question.
just something they have made something. In
One
the
cannot
purports comes a lot of points actually, so it just list the points. So what does that mean?
identify 3 significant points. Okay, here's one significant point. One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the 9 preliminary qualities for all human beings. I think I should print this and post it in one of my doors so that anyone who visits can see. These are the kind of things I'm thinking of nowadays. We should form a cult inside ISKCON where all the members post these kind of things. The Kshatriya or the member of the administrative class is especially advised to give charity and not to accept charity in any circumstances. The administrators should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. In fighting, the king or the president should never return home without being hurt by the enemy. Wine, women, and gambling indicate that the population is degraded to less than Shudra quality. The poor laborers are not sumptuously fed or given clothing, etc. in charity. I think we can repair ourselves and others in ISKCON simply if we follow first canto purpose. Second canto now, in another lifetime we can preach. So many points, all nice points. What we are supposed to choose?
So therefore, it's a long answer to very
The
long.
king knew well that the Supreme Person, that's why we require an answer back. We will give an answer back. We will issue an answer back. Say, just mug this up, cram this up. That's all. And simply for memorizing Prabhupada's words, we'll go back to that. That's all. Simple. Smarana. The king knew well that the Supreme Personality of Godhead never tolerates any insult to his unalloyed devotees. And in that answer, we'll put all these ones on it.
It is
Only
3 A4 page answer in my answer book.
no,
Answer.
your answer, your draft, I will cancel it. I will make a much simpler version.
No, however, I have highlighted those points, which is, I mean, everything Prabhupada has instructed in so many things.
No, only the italics. If anyone has controversy about that, we'll say then you talk to Prabhupada about it. That's all. Question 6. Describe Bhishma Dev's relationship with the Lord, 33 to 34 and 38. What is Bhishma Dev's relationship with the
It's
Lord?
just Das mixed with Veera. It comes, Prabhupada writes one place that Bhishma Dev is great devotee of the Lord in relationship of servitorship. Then again he writes Bhishma Dev is a devotee in the chivalrous relation.
Where? What time?
Verse number 38.
Look.
And 34 also it comes there.
34. Sri Bhishma Dev is a great devotee of the Lord in the relation of servitorship. That is one area. I mean, one aspect. Then
in 34 itself comes the Veeras also. As a great fighter, he was releasing the relation of Krishna in the, I think 33 and 34 also comes.
where? Not in 33. But
just see last paragraph of 34th, you will find there his great devotee Vishnudev and last line of the 34th. Yeah, we just see the last line.
Bhishma Dev is a devotee in the chivalrous relation. Mohan Radhapati Prabhu says Sardi. What is Sardi?
He was probably replying to me, but he posted in the group. I mean, to everyone.
Mistake.
No cross conversations in the public forum. Question 7. Explain how the Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishma. 34. The apparent wounds caused by the sharp arrows are misleading to the common man, but one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. The Lord was perfectly happy with the wounds caused by the sharp arrows of Bhishma Dev. The Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishma Dev. 8. Why did Krishna seemingly break his own promise? 37. Someone please remind me in Telegram. Ravindra Suraprabhu wrote a very nice article on Krishna coming to attack Bhishma in the battlefield. A very fine article in a Back to God article in the 80s. So I should trace that out and post it. Very, very nice. Very impressive. Very, very nice. Lord Krishna wanted to please his devotee Bhishma by keeping Bhishma's promise, which was more important than his own. Thus, seemingly, he broke his own promise. He had promised before the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra that he would remain without weapons and he would not use his strength for either of the parties. But to protect Arjuna, he got down from the chariot, took up the wheel of the chariot, and hurriedly rushed at Bhishma Dev in an angry mode, as a lion goes to kill an elephant. No, this is all in details. Question 9. Explain how Bhishma Dev observed Partha Sarathi with more relish than Arjuna. 59. Bhishma Dev never forgot the beautiful feature of the Lord as Partha Sarathi, which even Arjuna could not see. Arjuna was behind the beautiful Partha Sarathi, while Bhishma Dev was just in front of the Lord. As far as the military feature of the Lord is concerned, Bhishma Dev observed this with more relish than Arjuna. Question 10. What was the destination of all who saw Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra? I think that comes in the translation itself. Those who saw him in the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. All the soldiers and other persons on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual forms after their death, because by the causeless mercy of the Lord, they were able to see him face to face on that occasion. Question 11. What destination was achieved by Bhishma Dev 44? Bhishma Dev, as a pure devotee of the Lord, entered the spiritual realm in one of the Vaikuntha planets where the Lord in his eternal form of Parthasarathi predominates over the unconditioned living beings who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Question 12. Why do the votes cast by the mass of people actually have no value? The mass of people, especially in this age of Kali, are all born Shudras, basically low born, ill-trained, unfortunate, and badly associated. They themselves do not know the highest perfectional aim of life. Therefore, votes cast by them actually have no value. And thus, persons elected by such irresponsible votes cannot be responsible representatives like Maharaj Yudhishthira. Analogies purports to the following verses. 1.9.17. The popular saying is that a housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. Similarly, the Lord teaches the world by teaching the devotee. 1.9.34. Sri Bhishma is throwing off sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft arrows upon him. 1.9.34 again. The wounds created on the body of the Lord by the sharpened arrows of Bhishma were as pleasing to the Lord as the biting of a fiancé who bites the body directed by a strong sense of sex desire. 1.9.35. By executing the order of a devotee, the Lord becomes pleased as a father is pleased to carry out the order of his small child. Bhishma Dev's discussion topics. Bhishma Dev's relationship with the Lord. Okay, for this unit, I will still discuss the discussion topics. From next unit onwards, we all have to work this out. Great. It's better if I use this. (22). Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I'm ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. So, this is evidence that he's an unflinching devotee of the Lord, and that's a servant. 23. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. 24. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. So you're such a devotee of the Lord that he could request the Lord to stay there. His Ishtamurti, his cherished form of the Lord, is a four-handed form. 33 and 34. Sri Krishna is intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamala tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction. May I not desire fruitive results. So this is evidence that he was devoted to Parthasarathi. Further evidence is on the next text. On the battlefield where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go on to Sri Krishna. 37. Fulfilling my vow and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. 38. May he, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. This incident, it reveals their loving relationship. 39. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with the whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left. He was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. 42. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Sri Krishna now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. 44. Knowing that Bhishmadev had merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. He attained the Supreme Lord. Topic: Bhishmadev's explanation of the reverses on the side of the Pandavas. But we saw this already. This itself came in as a short question also. No, so I'll take up the next one. Bhishma's instructions on Varna. My God. 25 to 28. All jumbo topics. In the future also, I think that some of the topics will be like this. So 5 minutes to 10 minutes you can take. Bhishmadev's instructions on Varnashram Dharma. Okay, let's review that. Good portion also. Aprishad Vividhan Dharman Rishinam Chanushinvatam. So Yudhishthira first of all asked about multifarious duties, because there are multifarious obligations that we have. Modern civilization is built upon rights, the concept of rights. But Vedic civilization is built upon the concept of obligations. Obligation-based civilization is better than right-based civilization, because there was one French philosopher, Simone Weil, 100 years back, lady. And she wrote a book in which she pointed out that obligations come first and rights come next. Rights require obligations. Obligations do not require rights. So you notice here, all the questioning is based on dharmas, duties. So first of all, he defined varna dharmas and ashrama dharmas. The first he spelled out the preliminary duties, which are duties for all human beings, then duties for human beings, uh, uh, within as divided by the varnas. For the intelligent man, controlling the senses is the most essential qualification. Kshatriyas advised to give, especially given charity, not to accept charity. They should not become teachers of scripture. They must be well versed in scripture, but they must not teach. Why is this instruction there that Kshatriyas should not become gurus? I think it becomes a problem when they become a guru then and they start giving strange instructions. Their energy should be especially directed towards killing the thieves, the dacoits, the black marketeers, and all such undesirable elements of society. The administrator should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. One thing we notice is in Varnashama Dharma, social administrators are expected to be violent. They're not supposed to be non-violent, filled with love, care, compassion, forgiveness. Then everything will go down to dogs and cats and dogs only, that's all. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education. The Vaishyas are especially advised to protect the cows. Agriculture and distribution of the foodstuff are the primary duties of the mercantile community, backed by education and Vedic knowledge and trained to give in charity. The Shudra class is less intelligent and should have no independence. They are meant for rendering sincere service to the three higher sections of the society. A Shudra should never bank money. The higher caste should always look after the maintenance of the Shudras and they should provide them with old and used garments. A Shudra should not leave his master who is old and invalid, and the master should keep the servants satisfied in all respects within his position. Then ashrama dharma. Brahmachari ashram is the training ground. Those brahmacharis who don't develop a spirit of detachment are allowed to enter into family life, but with the same spirit of detachment. But one who assimilates this spirit of detachment can take up the renounced order. Dana dharma, Raja dharma, Moksha dharma, Stri dharma, Bhagavad dharma. Dana dharma is very simple. One should give 50% of his hard-earned money. Raja dharma. Kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely be tax collectors. They were trained to perform great sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subjects. To lead the prajas to the attainment of salvation was a great duty of the king. A typical king is the ideal of the people in general. And if the Kshatriya is pious, religious, chivalrous, and munificent, the citizens generally follow him. See, Raja Dharma is different from, he had already brought out a description of the Varna Dharmas. These are all subset of that only, but this is even more specific. Every Kshatriya is not a Raja. The Abhishekta Kshatriya is Raja. Amongst the Kshatriyas, one of them is appointed as the king. You take charge, and everybody else is appointed to become assistants to that king. The pious kings were not merciful to dacoits and thieves in the name of nonsensical ahimsa, non-violence. The king had a right to take 1/4 of the production made by the subject. So 1/4 of the production will go as a tax. The king had to ensure that human energy was used for self-realization. He had to select the cabinet ministers, military commanders, even ordinary soldiers, all on the basis of personal qualifications. The transcendentalists were not meant to be disturbed. Special protection to illiterates, helpless, and widows of the state. Widows of the state means that when the army men die, their wives have to be taken care of a whole life. Are these things going on in today's world, in different countries? In India, do they do these things? I don't know, it's not clear to me. I would expect that something is generally done. You lose the army, you lose your country all over the world. Moksha Dharma. One has to conquer the principles of lust, anger, unlawful desires, avarice, and bewilderment. Three Dharma. So the primary duty of woman is to be shy. And chaste. Bhagavad Dharma. Bhagavad Dharma is Panchanga Bhakti. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Mathurava, Srimurti, Shraddha, Sevam. And for all of this, he gave evidences from histories. Topic. Expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place. In general, ISKCON is overly obsessed with this concept of Deshakala Patra Vichar. But this is only expert religionists, and we are not expert religionists. We should not try to be expert religionists while we are highly inexpert. Expert religionists refer to great acharyas. Like the 12 great authorities, the Mahajanas. Topic. Bhishmadev's mind fixed on Krishna at the time of his passing away. 39, 42, 43. What is this? Okay, 39, 42. Okay. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord Shri Krishna, now present before me. The Spirit of the merged himself in the super soul Lord Shri Krishna. What else is there? Open book assessments, learning objectives. Present the historical flow of chapters 7 to 9, as well as an overview of Kunti Devi's prayers. Instead of that discussion topics, maybe the students should do this. Because anyway, it says by the end of the unit, students should be able to. So why not make the students do all this and just test it out, whether they are able to. Why not have some, I don't know, session or something? Better would be recording because then they'll be able to prepare. Suddenly you tell them until anyone to speak, they'll get it's just too difficult. Either like that or we can have group discussions. Should we plan out group discussions? Group discussion time will go on, so that should also ensure that time is kept. See, that's why I wanted on-site class. An on-site class, it's easy to keep things under control. Should we do this on exam days after the exam is over? Anyway, exam is on-site.
For all?
There are only 2 to 3 students on the site.
Right. Present the historical flow of chapters 7 to 9, as well as an overview of Kunti Devi's prayers. Present the arguments for and against the execution of Ashwatthama, 16 to 57. Present the virtues of capital punishment and sacred violence, as well as the vice of animal slaughter in a tactful yet uncompromising way. Discuss proper and improper understanding of Srila Prabhupada's statement about the discriminatory power of women. The proper understanding is that women lack discrimination. The improper understanding is women are great. That's all. Unless you bring in the idea that you're talking about women engaged in pure devotional service to Krishna's lotus feet. Okay, that is different. Because whether you're a man or woman, you're young or old, whatever species, in fact, you belong to, if you engage in Uttama Bhakti, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, Janakarma Dhyanavritam, Anukulyena Krishnana Kilanam, Bhakti Uttama, or you're obedient to Upadeshamrita, you want to progress from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Vajanakriya, Anarthanavita, Nichita, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, you want to attain sadhana siddhi, that is a different category. Obviously, the men and women of any species, they are exceptions. They are all intelligent because their intelligence is not their intelligence. Their intelligence is Krishna's intelligence. That's different. Otherwise, anybody who is not interested in Uttama Bhakti, then you have to face all these material gradations. You have to deal with them. Discuss how we in ISKCON can improve the protection of the 5 kinds of beings deserving special protection in spiritual culture. If we had on-site means each and every one of this we can bring up for we can have proper group discussion session. At the end of every canto, at least can we get together for some on-site discussions. In those days, we can have learning objectives. can have 2 sessions per day. Only group discussions on learning objectives. We'll start from Unit 1. And I'll just open it up and the students themselves can, each and everyone can just, it will be like a brainstorm. Very useful, very, very useful. What is this thing called? Learning objectives. Very important resource. The student handbooks are very nicely compiled. Only some of the questions need to be tweaked. Apart from that, very useful resources for this content. This discussion, I mean, it's almost spoon-fed. It's very easy to conduct classes. They've provided all of this. Okay, I'll stop with this. But learning objectives, how to handle it, we need to finalize it. We need to have some. I'm convinced that we need to have discussions, group discussions with students on site somehow. Those who don't attend will simply suffer. That's it. But it'll be very useful. It'll be very useful. Learning objectives is good. And what is this other thing? Discussion topics is also good. Both are good. And I think both would be good for group discussion. And it'll be a good review also. It'll force us to. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me estimate how much time to give for all of this. And then afterwards, I think we should then plan for 2 sessions per day. And then let's think about when to have it. Maybe that can be on some Saturday, Sundays or something like that. Or some other days. I don't know. That and all we'll have to finalize. But maybe at the end of every canto we can do. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha vipasindabhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.